Hi everyone, Peter from TurfmenUK. Hope you're all well. Another wet day in Keswick at the bowling club. We've had around about 60 centimetres of rain in the last 4 days, so there's very little we can do on the green or anywhere else for that matter. So we're going to instead today, me and Mike, when he does arrive, we're going to have a sit down and a bit of a chat. We're going to talk about our career paths and what we get and what we enjoy about being groundsmen and greenkeepers. So, yep, hope you enjoy it. So we're going to have a brief chat about both of our careers, and I'm going to start with Mike. So mate, so you're a little bit older than me and have a little bit more experience. So how did you start in the sports surf industry?
Well, I know you'll be finding it a surprise that I am actually older than Pete, because he must have had a bad paper round. But yeah, I was a very keen cricketer when I was a youngster, and I started working at the cricket ground, cutting the outfield for the groundsman. Yeah. Then I got a bit of a passion for that, and the groundsman, he retired, and I took over working at the cricket ground. So that's basically how I got in it. I was a volunteer groundsman, and then I did get paid a little bit of pin money for the work that I did. But yeah, so that's how I started. So what about you?
Well, so I started in amenity horticulture pretty much straight from school.
So you were at Lingham Estate,
yeah, Lingham Estate,
quite famous garden, isn't it? Really?
Private garden, privately owned, and yeah, all aspects of amenity horticulture really. Yeah, but then Lingham closed in '97, and I was looking for something else to do, and I originally got a summer job, effectively just as a grass cutter, you know, and just really enjoyed the summer we had. It was a fantastic summer in '97. It was always hot. It never rained, so it wasn't a precursor of what I was going to have to get used to. But yeah, it was just a great summer. Really enjoyed it, and sort of had an idea that it was something I might like to keep up really, and was lucky at the end of that year to be taken on full time. And I was there for initially 3 years, I think, till about 2001, where we both started working together at Penrith.
Penrith, yeah.
Yeah. So what was your path from cricket to Penrith?
Basically, the head greenkeeper at Penrith Golf Club came down to see me to say that they were looking for summer staff.
Yeah. And
he basically said that if you come and work here and you do what you do the golf club that you do with the cricket club, then the chances are we might be able to keep you on. So yeah. I was in full-time employment at the time, as well as doing the cricket ground part-time, but I thought it was worth the risk. I mean, I was like you when I was younger. I was a keen cricketer, and I did play a lot of golf as well, and obviously you played a lot of golf, and for me it was the ideal job to work on a golf course, watch people play golf all day, and play golf every afternoon when you finish. So
that's what you thought.
That's what I thought. Yeah. But I mean, you were quite a good golfer in your younger days, weren't you?
Yeah. When I was younger, and that's the reason I really got into sport, because even though I worked in amenity horticulture, I'd always played golf, so it was something I could go back to. So I had something I had a passion for, and I was like you. I thought that work at a golf course, and then you're like the kid in the candy shop, aren't you? You're going to get to play golf all day, but it doesn't work out like that at all.
No, I don't. I think it's all the jobs until you actually do a job. I don't think you have any idea how much is involved in it. So we were pretty lucky. We ended up working together. I was at Penrith first, and you came to work, didn't you, at Penrith? And I'd done NVQ level 2 and 3 at Myerscough College. I think I did
the level 3 with you.
Yeah, you did level 3 with me. Yeah. And then we both did the HND course at Myerscough.
Yeah.
And then you left to go to Keswick.
I left halfway through college to go back to Keswick.
Right. That was as head greenkeeper, yeah.
No, just as a greenkeeper initially, and then through people leaving, higher up the pay scale, I suppose. I got the opportunity to move up to head greenkeeper eventually, which I did for 6-7 years till about 2012, right. 2013, which I really enjoyed. You sort of like college sets you up for certainly being a head greenkeeper, because there's so much that goes into it that you don't actually realise. You know, it's not about managing sports turf, it's about all the other stuff that goes with it, and that's the real sort of challenge, certainly for somebody like me who wasn't originally sort of academically minded at all. That was a great challenge, really, but one that I enjoyed nonetheless. So while I was at Keswick, you'd already gone. You were still at Penrith when I
was at Penrith, yeah, and then I was head at Penrith for a year, and then things didn't quite work out the way I thought it was going to do, and I went to Maryport Golf Club, which is just further down the coast from Silloth. I think a lot of people will have heard of Silloth Golf Club. If you've played at Silloth, you've probably driven through Maryport Golf Club to get to it. So I went to work there. That was a completely different, whereas Penrith was more of a heathland golf course on really good sandstone strata. Maryport was originally a 9-hole golf course. All the 9 holes were on the links. Basically, the third tee at Maryport, if you fell off the tee, you fell into the Solway. It was that close to the sea. So we had some interesting times with high spring tides, and then I think the club was founded in 1905, I think it was. That was a 9-hole course, and then they bought additional agricultural land attaching to the course and turned it into 18. So I had 9 holes of pure links turf and 9 holes of agricultural, almost like
2 different courses.
So yeah, pretty interesting.
And you were there for
10 or 11 years, I think. Yeah.
And so, I mean, I was very sort of similar in that you're describing the kind of land that you had to work on. At Keswick, it was again different again in that you were working in a glacial valley.
Well, Keswick's like on the slopes of Blencathra.
Yeah, at the bottom of the valley, effectively, between Blencathra and Hell Valley. Those mountain ranges, and it was glacial boulder clay that you were working with at the bottom of the valley. It was all silty, where all the minerals and the soil had washed down to the bottom. And then the higher up the side of the fell you went, the less soil there was. It was just basically boulder clay. So that was an incredible challenge, given with the volume of rainfall that you had to work with. It was you were always constantly looking at the weather forecast, praying that it wasn't going to rain. But it was something you had to get used to. You know, it was a challenge that you could never try and work against Mother Nature.
No.
You had to try your best to work with it, and that was one thing that you learned very, very quickly at Keswick, and probably the same at Maryport as well.
Yeah, I mean, we were in a bit better place because we were nowhere near as wet as Keswick. I mean, when it rains at Keswick, it sometimes forgets to stop, whereas we were pretty lucky with the 9 holes of links that we had, where very, very rarely were we shut. So the members always had 9 holes of golf to play on. So, I mean, where I could still be out cutting fairways and greens in December, there's no way
watching the rain come down.
You could do it. Yeah, so that's I think we've done that. I mean, so we both attended Myerscough, and the bunch of lads that we attended college with were still pretty good mates with a lot of them, and it was a really good experience. I must admit that H&D was a bit of an eye opener for particularly for me, because practically wise, I'm like to think that I'm pretty good practically, but when it comes to
you're right.
Soil science and things like that, I found that. In fact, I think one of the first soil science lectures we went to, I think we all sat looking at each other thinking, "What the hell have we done coming here?" Because we weren't
ready for it.
No, we weren't. But we got through it, and it definitely helped, because it gave us an understanding of why we do things and how we can try and improve. So I think that's basically where we've come from with sports turf. And then we used to do, surprisingly enough, quite a bit of cycling together. And Pete, you'd already left Keswick, yeah?
Yeah, I left in 2013. You just sort of just struggled with the weather, really. And I felt that it was time to hand the baton on to somebody else. So I was quite happy at that point to be leaving, to be perfectly honest, and looking to try and do something else. Yeah,
because it must be soul destroying to just have nothing. I know exactly how you feel. We're a bit like it at the moment. We've got work piled up, we just can't get to it because it's too wet. So it is really frustrating. I think the thing for me was the fact that I could see. I mean, I was through golf through all the what we call the boom years, where everybody wanted to play golf. lots of golf courses being built all over the country. There was waiting lists everywhere, and it was a real boom time. And then now I could see what was happening, where more and more people were staying at home. They were wanting to do something where they could play something for an hour and get back home. They weren't sitting in clubhouses after matches.
It was a cycling thing, wasn't it? Cycling.
People
started riding their bikes.
Well,
I think
the
financial crash in 2009. It was like a number of things, like a perfect storm.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing was, it was always if you played sport, if you played cricket, rugby, or football, you did that, and then when you retired, you and all your mates went to play golf. Whereas it got to the stage where once you finished playing sports, you and your mates went and bought a bike. I mean, nothing wrong with it. We both
we loved it.
Yeah, we both cycled. I could just see that it was going backwards. Budgets were being reduced. Manpower was being reduced, and the job just become harder and harder to do. And it's so that's where we were out cycling one day. Obviously, Pete's got a horticultural background. I'm maybe not as much horticulturally based as Pete, but I've always worked in. I'll put it this way: I've always been able to cut grass. So we just thought. Take the leap, and we started our own, basically gardening business in Keswick at the time.
Initially, and it sort of evolved into something.
Which we still are. We still do quite a bit of gardening, really. But we tend to we progressed more to the sports turf because we came down here to Keswick, and the guy who looked after the green wasn't well at the time, so they didn't really have much of an idea what they were trying to do. So we came in just as volunteers, and we do work here where we do paid work, but we do also do a lot of voluntary work as well, because obviously it's our home club and we want it to be the best it can be.
Word of mouth sort of spread, didn't it? Really, when the green sort of started getting better over a period of time, and people sort of played it. Visitors came in, saw the green, and wanted what they had at Keswick on their greens. So that sort of tied in with when we first started out, we invested in garden machinery in a small van, and we went around doing local gardens, and then it seems to sort of go from there to sort of turn into a lot, predominantly now we do a lot of sports turf, don't we? And that's what we've gone back to, what we sort of both of us really know really well. So
but I think that's the way the golf industry's gone as well a bit, is the fact that more and more people seem to be getting contractors in to come and do certain things, particularly aeration, things like Procorn and the Air 2 G2 machines, inverted reining, and rather than have the machines sat there in the sheds doing nothing, they'd rather just get a contractor to come in. So we've invested quite a bit in the sports turf. Then I got the opportunity. I was asked if I would go down and do a course to become an ECB pitch advisor for Cumbria. So obviously Cumbria's quite a big county, so I'll look after the northern end of Cumbria, and then Jack Singleton, my colleague, is the pitch advisor for the south of the county. So that's pretty good. I wouldn't say. I think one of the main reasons for this channel is the fact that I found it hard working with the ECB when it comes to actually just people being able to pick the phone up and give you a call. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this is that we're totally independent. Whatever I recommend or say is good or bad is my opinion. It's not the ECB's. It's not Bowls England. It's not Cumbria Cricket. It's
not the FA.
No, we don't have any associations with any fertiliser companies. We're not associated to any machinery companies. We're basically doing this just to say this is what we think. We're not saying what we're saying is gospel and you have to do it. There are different ways of doing things, and we're all here to learn things. We're just hoping that maybe we can just pass on a little bit of the little knowledge that we've got, and hopefully produce better surfaces for everybody.
So that's a brief introduction into myself and Mike, and our history and our career paths in sports turf. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like, a comment below if you've got any suggestions or comments that you'd like to to hit us up with, and yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you in the future.